Eric, you're the founder of the very successful Viagogo, the secondary online ticket marketing company. But I want to go back a few years to when you and Jeff Fleur co-founded StubHub. How did you guys do it?
Yeah, it was really interesting. I had been working at a firm called Bain Capital in Boston, and my girlfriend wanted to go see The Lion King, and we had to pay through the nose for tickets, and I thought there's got to be a better way to do it. So I came up with this business plan, and I went out and enrolled at Stanford, and actually got together and recruited Jeff to launch the business, and I was going to finish my degree and get it, and convince Jeff to drop out of school, which he did to his credit, and turned out to probably be a better investment than the MBA, and we launched StubHub, and the rest is history.
When you initially showed backers the business model for StubHub, what was their reaction?
We actually incorporated and actually launched after the NASDAQ bubble burst in April of 2000. So at that time, saying you were going to launch an internet company was almost like saying today you're graduating and going to run a subprime mortgage company. It didn't inspire a lot of confidence in people. But fortunately, we were able to find some folks who did back it, and they were rewarded for their belief.
Did you talk to a lot of people who went to sporting events before you actually came up with the business plan to sort of get their feedback? I mean, I remember, when I used to go to a lot of events right here in Madison Square Garden, it was always, one block from the Garden, prices were higher than they were 3 blocks from the Garden, and the closer you got to game time, the cheaper the tickets came. I mean, sort of stuff like that.
Well, I think, Mike, as you allude to with your experience at the Garden, the great thing about going to live events in sports is that if you're a big sports fan, you've experienced the aftermarket firsthand. I mean, people probably been, reselling tickets since the days of the Gladiators. So I'm sure some of the citizens of Rome had the same experiences and wondered, there's got to be a better way. So I had grown up going to sporting events all my life. My dad, I'm from Los Angeles, had been Rams and Raiders season ticket holder, going to Laker games. And so it had experience also dealing with ticket brokers. And so, clearly we also did some market research, but it was a great example of probably the cliche of if there's a problem you experience in your own life doing things, there's probably a lot of other people who have the same problem. And so it was a very simple problem to solve and to identify.
What about the teams themselves? StubHub has had some situations with the Texas Rangers and the New England Patriots, and there's also the benefits both sides get from this, the secondary online market being able to help the fans that buy these season tickets sell them, and then they also advertise at sporting events. How did the two sides sort of get closer together on this?
Sure. So it's funny to think back that today you see StubHub certainly in this country and Viagogo internationally are very prominent, and we work with a lot of different teams. And obviously here in the United States, you can't turn on a baseball game without seeing StubHub, and it's very prevalent. But if you roll back the clock, you have to remember that it was very, very antagonistic in the early days. I mean, I remember personally being thrown out of certain sports leagues, going to meetings with people who told me, we'll never work with you, we'd never be associated with online ticket scalping. And so I think there was a big education process. So I think it was really incumbent on us to explain that really what we're doing is creating a solution for those guys outside the arena, creating a way for your season ticket holders to sell tickets they can't use, so they'll buy more season seats, a way for buyers to buy them without being defrauded, and hopefully a way for the team to participate directly and indirectly in those benefits. And so it was definitely an education process, and I definitely remember saying that they were less than enthusiastic is a pleasant euphemism for it.
When did you leave StubHub, and why did you decide to start Viagogo?
So it was interesting. As I said, when I started, I had recruited Jeff, and when he dropped out, he vested over a number of years, and I'd owned my stock as a co-founder. The founder's stock controlled the board, and when Jeff vested out, he owned more than I did. And in 2005, at the beginning of 05, end of 04, had differences with Jeff. And so basically, I had no employment contract, no nothing. And Jeff and the board said, hey, you're fired. Good luck. See you later. And I said, well, gosh, I thought that was a surprising way. Certainly wasn't the way I would have scripted it. And people have told me that oftentimes partnerships fray when things are really bad or really good. And in this case, they were really good. So my first reaction, Mike, was I was thinking, gosh, I'll go take a vacation, travel the world, take a break. And I think but then it occurred to me, I had no non-compete and no restriction on what I could do. I think the thought process on the part of the company was that I owned a big chunk of StubHub, and obviously I could start HubStub across the street, but that probably wouldn't be so bright for my own benefit. So as it turned out, when I was thinking of traveling through Europe for a few months, I said, well, gosh, ticket resale is not uniquely American. It exists globally. Here's an opportunity for me to build a global secondary ticketing powerhouse, be a pioneer again, hopefully learn from what I've done, build it bigger and better, while at the same time continuing to benefit from the trajectory StubHub was on to either go public or be acquired. So sort of, I'd like to say it was part of a master plan, but as with many things in life, I think it was just very serendipitous and, fortunately provided me an opportunity to do it bigger and better.